high-level dialogue on investing in infrastructure for resilience, and clearly made it and underlined that the cost of inaction when it comes to resilience far exceeds the cost of action. USAID announced its new $50 million private sector engagement fund to support socially responsible practices in business operations and supply chains. And we work to make global trade systems stronger and more equitable, because it's a linchpin for growth and resilience. More than 50 countries launched a coalition of trade ministers on climate this week to drive inclusive cooperation among trade ministers in the global response to climate change. A new partnership was formed between the UAE and the Forum to accelerate trade tech solutions for global commerce. We also foresaw the first indigenous-led discussion in Davos on securing better trade outcomes for indigenous peoples. We also doubled down on accelerating climate action. The First Movers Coalition, this coalition that we formed with President Biden in the run-up to Glasgow, where you use the purchasing powers of the big companies in the world to green their supply chain, has now grown from 35 companies to 70 companies, and we added Canada and the UAE as government partners. We also saw a new forum initiative related to Forum Chief Sustainability Leaders Community. It was launched, and 60 CSOs came together to further action on sustainability and transformation. The Forum also signed a new partnership with the government of Indonesia to support its ambition to scale blue carbon restoration and ocean conservation efforts. And the 1 Trillion Tree organization, 1T.org, as you know, welcomed 2 additional pledges, taking the initiative to over 80 companies, committing more than 7 billion trees in over 65 countries in 2030. I was also heartened to see progress on the current energy and food crisis. A new initiative, Gaia, Giving to Amplify Earth Action, will leverage philanthropic capital to help generate the $3 trillion needed each year from public and private sources to tackle climate change and nature losses. 9 leading industrial clusters in China, Indonesia, Japan, Spain, and the US have joined the Forum's Transitioning Industrial Clusters Towards Net Zero initiative to help industry reduce emissions. The Global Battery Alliance launched a proof of concept for its battery passport to help facilitate the rapid scaling of sustainable, circular, responsible battery value chains. Important steps have also been taken to support global public health. 39 organizations this week signed Global Health Equity Network Zero Health Gaps Pledge and committed to take concerted action to advance health and equity globally. The World Economic Forum also launched its first thematic center on healthcare and life sciences in Telangana, India. As leaders, we grapple to address the complexities and interconnected challenges when it comes to innovation and technologies. And we took initiatives also in this field. The Forum unveiled a new center for trustworthy technology in Austin, Texas, to promote responsible production and use of emerging technologies such as AI, machine learning, blockchain, virtual reality, and quantum computing. The new Global Cybersecurity Outlook report that was presented provided a roadmap for leaders as they grapple with new cybersecurity threats. 10 water-focused entrepreneurs were chosen winners of the forum's Global Freshwater Innovation Challenge for their solutions to improve freshwater resilience in the face of climate change and restore water quality around the world. And the Schwab Foundation, from this platform for social entrepreneurs, awarded 16 organizations for their innovative approach and potential for global impact, joining a community of 435 innovators operating in 190 different countries. Congratulations to the chairperson, Hilde Herr Schwab. As the panel also touched on, the war in Ukraine also is one of the big challenges of our time. And we also paid attention to the war during this week, and leaders discussed how to scale up the labor market integration of Ukrainian refugees based on new lessons from the forum's Refugee Employment and Employability Initiative. And the forum continues to support the dialogue between private sector leaders and Ukraine's political leadership to support reconstruction efforts. And Kristalina, you were also at the CEOs for Ukraine initiative meeting again. It was 70 CEOs in the room with the First Lady and ministers really looking at how we can support also to avoid a total humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Ukraine. And we work to unlock progress in different conflicts areas in the world. In the Middle East, we continued our work for reconciliation between Israelis and Palestinians. You know this initiative that we have worked on for many years. And private sector Palestinian and Israeli leaders today came together this morning and endorsed a communique reinforcing their commitment to supporting the Palestinian economy. And we brought leaders together to strengthen the dialogue in the Western Balkans and to address the political crisis in Myanmar. We also accelerated efforts to strengthen regional collaboration. The forum convened global business leaders for the third meeting of the forum's Friends of the African Continental Free Trade Area and agreed to develop an action plan for strengthening implementation of this agreement. If successfully implemented, it can create 30 to 40 million new jobs in the coming years in Africa. I'm so heartened our community of young leaders has been working together to forge solutions also this week. And more locally, it is also great to see that we will have a Global Shapers Hub now in Davos. So the Davos Hub of young global shapers was formed, and I think some of you are here in the room today too. So congratulations. Finally, I know it's been a long list, but we're very proud of it. You also show that this has been a working meeting where we have rolled up our sleeves. Finally, the forum, in partnership with Accenture and Microsoft, unveiled a working prototype of the Global Collaboration Village, a purpose-driven metaverse where organizations can convene to action on the world's most pressing challenges. So, as I said, I'm so proud that we closed this meeting on such a positive note with so much energy. I hope it fuels our actions and ambitions in the year ahead. Because in an uncertain and challenging time, one thing is clear. We can shape a more resilient, sustainable, and equitable future, but the only way to do so is together. Thank you.
We see rising inflation. We see energy being used as a weapon. We see threats of trade wars and the return of confrontational geopolitics.
Зараз є загроза обвалу того життя, до якого звикли люди в світі. Яким може бути життя у світі, якщо буде дозволено бити з танків по атомним станціям?
Tragedies are outpacing life. Tyranny is outpacing democracy.
Every democratic nation should rethink its dependencies on authoritarian regimes.
Our world has never ever witnessed an energy crisis of this depth and of this complexity.
Inflation, by all accounts, however you look at it, is way too high.
This year is going to be a tough year. We will see the effects of monetary policy tightening, and this is generating a cost of living crisis.
And it's not a short-term cost of living crisis, it's a long-term inequality crisis. We shouldn't be running our economies on poverty wages.
214 million workers around the globe, they work 40 hours a week, yet they are not able to even pay their bills.
正在以前所未有的方式展开，世界又一次站在历史的十字路口。
We understand the power and the change that can come from this room. We can move with agility and speed, and your speed is needed now.
We need to build resilience and diversify. This is another way you can grow trade and grow the world.
The commitment to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees is nearly going up in smoke. We are headed to a 2.8 degree increase, and for many, it will mean a death sentence.
It is now crystal clear that the future belongs solely to renewables.
When you look at the distribution of the green skills around the world, so much needs to happen in the global south.
We're not investing nearly enough, and it's no good for us to say we don't have any money, because we're the only people who do have any.
We need to mobilize more capital going to developing countries, and to do that, we need to de-risk those investments.
No government has enough money to affect this transition as fast as we need it. In the end, it's going to be private sector investment.
There is capital, but the pace needs to increase dramatically.
We have to educate our shareholders to understand that we will be rewarding our leaders for behaviors that are not just about the bottom line.
It's essential that non-financial targets and ambitions and goals actually get audited, because trust is what is most needed at this point.
We have responsibility, but also think about it, the privilege to be part of shaping a better world.
We have a long way to go when it comes to meaningful participation in decision-making.
Through collective responsibility, we have the capacity to turn the challenges